Hello, and welcome back, or perhaps for the first time, to Black Jade Island. For those of you who don't know, Black Jade is my hard mode island. Hard mode is a special set of rules created by Nintendogs to make the game just a little bit more challenging. So, Sunday was a bit of an adventure for me, for real, in real life. I was busy all morning and wasn't able to get to my recording setup until well into the afternoon. I did get some screenshots though. Because I have my Switch set to be a few hours behind me in my local time, I thought I would be able to get Daisy Mae before she left. Unfortunately, by the time I managed to get back to my Switch, it was 12:11, meaning I had just missed her. So, I utilized my total mastery over time and space to roll the clock back a single hour, so that I could buy 400 turnips from her for 104 bells a turnip. I didn't get back to my recording setup until later that evening, so screenshots were all I have of this interaction. Once I started my day proper, I checked my mail. The gift Katrina gave me after my cleansing was a Zodiac rabbit figure. I did not realize that she gave me Zodiac figurines. It is so cute. I'm going to have to make sure I have enough money for more cleansings when I go to visit her because I want to collect them all. I went into my house to put all of my items into my storage, and Rocket decided that now was the time to invite herself over. I did not have time for her nonsense, so I immediately left. I didn't even play high card, low card with her. While I was hunting for seashells, I noticed that June had a thought bubble. Anxiety gripped me as I thought she was planning on moving away, but it was fine. It turned out that she just wanted nothing? I know this has happened once before, but this one still confuses me so much. What's even the point of this? I headed over to Harv's Island to do a photo shoot with Reese and Cyrus, got my fortune told, and then I headed back home to make my purchases. I didn't feel like making a whole new design this week, so I just put on my rainbow dress again. And then I headed into the dressing room to see if they had anything that could work as an outfit for it. I decided that they didn't, bought some random garbage, and then I headed over to the dressing room at Patty's Boutique to get changed. Why yes, I am wearing socks with sandals. Die mad about it. I went to go do my stretches. One of my 2x Miles tasks was to check my fossil, so I headed to the museum to take care of that. And then I stopped by the Roost for a nice cup of coffee. Do you think Blathers gets lonely now that I'm not visiting him every day, or do you think he's happy that he gets to sleep without my daily interruptions? I finished off my day by customizing some of my tools, which was my final 2x Miles task. I started the day by harvesting and watering my crops. While I was watering my roses, I noticed a money spot had spawned there. I went to dig it up, but my pockets were full, so I had no choice but to bury it again. I was already going to do that, so it was nice to skip a couple extra button presses to make it happen. I feel like a speedrunner when I do that. Rocket had a thought bubble. I was excited for a moment because I thought I would finally be rid of her, but alas. She just wanted to give me a nickname. Rambler, it's fine. It's whatever. I don't really talk to Rocket anyway. Oh wait. I just realized that other villagers can decide they want to join in on fun nicknames, so let's look forward to that, I guess. Fossil door plates were the hot item, so I decided to go on a fossil hunt. I dug up like 3 and decided that was probably good enough. I don't think they sold for enough money to justify my efforts, but that's fine. It's fine. Who needs lots of money anyway? It's not like I'm trying to pay off an expensive bridge or an even more expensive loan or anything. I used my fossil door plate money to make some purchases. Then I headed out to Harv's Island to do my photo shoot with Reese and Cyrus. I don't remember who it was, but somebody in my stream was nice enough to explain to me how to use the heart crystals to buy things. It turns out that you have to talk to Cyrus in this room and not while he's at his trailer, so that's good to know. I bought a bunch of wedding chairs for reasons. I got my fortune told. It was a bad fortune and I didn't have enough money to get it cleansed, so no cute Zodiac figurine for me, I guess. At least it was the bad fortune that I think is super funny. Once back on my island, I only had one last 2x Miles task to do. Diving. I went and did exactly as much diving as I had to in order to clear the objective, and then I headed back onto land. Patty had a thought bubble. She wanted me to come over to her house, and for whatever reason I went along with it. While I was at her house, I cleared out my 2x Miles tasks. I hung out with her for a while, played high card, low card, and then left. I did my stretches, went to get some coffee. Gullivar was on my island, so back into the sea, I guess. I got the phone on the second pull and called it a day. I started my day by watering and harvesting my crops, and then I went into my house and did a lot of cooking, just so much cooking. Part of it was because I had a 2 times miles task, but mostly I just wanted to cook. I did my stretches. Turnips were selling for $192 each. It's possible that the price was going to improve again, but I decided to just sell now while I knew I was making a profit and not have to stress about it for the rest of the week. Honestly, it was very freeing. On my way back to the shop after collecting my turnips, I stopped to empty out Bug Jail. Flake was on my island, and I wanted to be prepared for when I inevitably ran face first into him. I sold my turnips, made some purchases, and then I went to go hunt down Flake. I asked him to make a firefly model for me, since I had caught those fireflies for that express purpose. And then I sold all of the bugs that I had in Bug Jail. And oh boy did I make a lot of money off of that. Look at all those bells. I feel so fancy. I heaved my extremely full wallet over to Harv's Island to do a photo shoot with Reese and Cyrus. I stopped by Red to see what he was selling. The wild painting right half was real, so I bought it, and then I headed over to get my fortune told. Unfortunately, it was a good luck fortune, so no cute Zodiac figurines for me. I also went and finished paying off Tortimer's spot in the commune for some reason. Now we can have him access our storage for us. Not sure why I decided that I needed that, but I did. I headed back to Black Jade with the intention of filling my pockets up with bugs once more, but I ran out of steam after like 4 butterflies. So I just sold the ones that I did catch, cleared out my 2 times miles tasks, and then headed up to the roost for my daily cup of coffee. Isabel announced that there was a visitor at our campsite. Maybe we'll get lucky and they'll replace one of my hated enemies, I say, pretending for a moment that I'm not writing this after the fact, and knowing full well that this will not be the case. I harvested and watered my crops, my fruit trees, and then all of the seashells on my beach. My beach combing took me up to the campsite, so I popped in to see who I pulled, and it was ClEYEde. I have no strong opinions on his design, but it was exciting to have a lazy character on my island again. He decided to replace Eugene, which devastates me, but will likely make Princess of Pineapples, another Animal Crossing content creator who does hard mode streams along with other things, and you should check her out, link in the description, a little jealous. Because she, for reasons that do not make sense to me, hates Eugene. Who could hate this hilarious greaser koala? Anyway, I said my final goodbyes to my good friend Eugene. You will be missed. Sparrow had a thought bubble. He wanted to come to my house, but I had a lot of stuff to do yet, and I didn't feel like being held hostage in my own home, so I said no and went on with my day. Leaf was on my island. I bought 10 pumpkin starts. You see, it's been really bugging me that I've only got the 1 white pumpkin plant, so I'm trying to fish for a second one. Hopefully, somewhere in these 10 starts I will have a white one waiting to grow. I donated the painting that I got from Red and headed up to get some coffee from the roost. I headed over to Harv's Island to start the photo shoot, but Harv wasn't where we usually keep him. It turns out that was because he was hanging out over here with Tortimer, who I had forgotten I had unlocked. I have no real use for Tortimer, but it's good to see him again. I was really worried that he had died between games, but here he is, still kicking. I got my fortune told and then headed out to get the photo shoot done. Back on Black Jade, it was time for some purchases. I really wanted the sofa, but I was too poor. Luckily, iron garden benches were the hot item, and I had a bunch of those in my storage that I wasn't using. So I grabbed them from my storage and sold them to the Nooklings for many bells, and then I was able to buy the sofa that I wanted. I did my stretches, doubled back to the Able Sisters to make my purchases there, then I went diving. It was as boring as I feared it would be, but you know. At least I managed to fish up a few new sea creatures. I finished off my 2 times miles tasks and headed over to the museum to donate the sea grapes and crabs and such to Blathers. I started the day by harvesting and watering my crops. While I was watering my roses, my watering can broke, so I harvested my fruit trees with an axe so I could get enough softwood to make myself a new one. After I finished picking up all the seashells on my beach, I headed over to Harv's Island to do the photo shoot. The pink chocolate flooring is actually really cute. I'd like to use it in my own home at some point, but I'll have to obtain it first. For some reason, I can't just steal it from Harv's kitchen. Anniversary photo shoot set. I went to get my fortune told. It was a bad money fortune. This is another one that I find extremely amusing, just the idea of Daisy May and her grandma weeping over their rotten turnips. It's funny to me in the same way that those ads for phone apps where you have to solve a very basic puzzle to give the crying pregnant lady shelter from the snow, but the person doing the puzzle fucks it up real bad and she just falls to the ground weeping and then freezes to death. I feel like I haven't seen one of those in a while, but you know the ones I'm talking about. I know you do. Anyway, I like to let the bad fortunes that amuse me stand, but I like having cute Zodiac figurines more, so I got it cleansed. Once back home, I went to make my purchases. I did my stretches, got some coffee. Red was on my island, so I made my way back to my secret beach. I kinda want to set up an incline or something here, but I don't really know what to do with this area. It's too close to the bamboo forest and Wendy Samson's little pond area for me to make a full build about it. He was selling a flowery painting, which is always real, so I bought it. On my way out, I noticed June had a thought bubble and got really nervous. I feel like it's been long enough since somebody moved out that the timer might have reset, and I'm just not ready to lose June yet. But it was fine. She just had an extra shaved ice maker she wanted to give me. How many of these do I have at this point? I feel like this is not the first time I've been given a shaved ice maker by one of my villagers. My last 2 times miles task was to customize some items, so I picked up these 2 gyroids that I dropped here because I didn't have a better place for them and painted them black. The last thing I did for the day was clear out my 2 times miles tasks. Isabel reminded me that Clyde was moving in. To be honest, I had completely forgotten about him. I have no strong opinions about Clyde, and I imagine I will continue to not have strong opinions about him until the day he moves out. I harvested and watered my crops. While I was attacking this rock, a pillbug popped out. I abandoned my assault to go catch it. If I get 2 more, I can ask Flick for a model. I don't usually like bugs, but I think pillbugs are actually pretty cute, so I'm looking forward to this one. I went to go put the pillbug in my storage, and while I was in there, I decided to redo my living room. It took me a while to settle on a theme, but I eventually decided to make it into a gym, with a rock climbing wall and the rock climbing wallpaper as well. I thought I had more workout equipment than it turns out that I do. Man, I wish I had a treadmill. A treadmill would really pull this room together. I decided to throw out some tire stacks. I feel like people use tires in CrossFit, although I'm not really sure what they use the tires for. Do they just move them? Tires aren't that heavy. I dropped this spooky skeleton back here as a fun surprise. I was looking for rugs to break up the floor visually. I'm not really sure where I got this butthole rug, but I think it's very funny. It doesn't work for this room, but hopefully someday I'll be able to use it somehow. Not exactly stoked with how the room came out, but I don't exactly hate it either. I can live with this until next Friday. It was time for the photo shoot with Reese and Cyrus, and then I went on to get my fortune told. Iron garden benches were the hot item again, so I made a bunch of them to sell. On my way over to the store, I remembered what I had bought that park fountain for. I think it looks really nice here, although maybe I should swap out the white brick pattern for those gray ones in the base game. While I contemplated that, I noticed that Kix was on my island. I checked out his stock and instantly fell in love with these hideous green jester shoes. They are too beautiful to put onto my own 2 putrid human feet, so they'll just live in my storage until I can give them the place of honor that they deserve. I also got some little imp wings. I headed down to make my purchases. The cypress bath would have been great for a build outside of Kabuki's house, but alas, he left before I could make it for him. I also got some stuff from the Able sisters, an imp hat to match my imp wings. I will not be wearing the hat, but the wings are cute. I stopped by ClEYEde's house to welcome him to the island. His house is as boring as he is, I'm afraid. I caught a second pill bug. I was looking for who had the crafting recipe for the day, and June actually acknowledged that ClEYEde had moved in. I don't think I've ever seen a villager do that. Or perhaps I just don't talk to my villagers often enough for it to have come up. You guys? Am I a bad neighbor? I finished off my 2 times miles tasks, got a coffee from Brewster, and then finished off my day by doing my stretches. I started the day by harvesting and watering my crops. While I was hunting for seashells, I noticed this balloon. I tried so hard, and I got so far, but in the end, it got eaten by my flowers. While I was stretching, somebody in the chat pointed out ClEYEde's eyes. I had assumed that they were like a Brock Pokemon situation where they were just always closed, but then he blinked, and I don't want to live on this planet anymore. I finished paying off my bridge, so getting around on my island should be a little easier starting tomorrow. Log chairs were the hot item, so I made a bunch of them and then sold them for a disappointing amount of money. I really like the rattan bed, so I bought it, and I also picked up some stuff from the Able sisters. I headed over to Harv's Island to get my fortune told. It was a bad fortune, but I didn't have enough money to get it cleansed, so she just told me good luck with that and sent me away. Then it was time for the daily photo shoot. I committed to doing this every day, but I feel like I'm stuck in a rut creatively with these. I'm still gonna do them, but I feel like I've just been going through the motions, and I really need to think of something to spice it up. I finished off my 2 times miles tasks. Since my bad fortune made my tools break faster, I decided to make a bunch of extra shovels, but I got the recipe confused for the one for the axe, so I got stung by a bunch of wasps for nothing. I finally remembered to donate that flowery painting and then headed up to the roost to get some coffee. A bunch of people in the stream decided to come over and help me clear out the flowers on top of the cliff so that I could do some terraforming with them. Kina from Pineshire, Lyra from Rosecross, Grace from Lake Lily, who is the Princess of Pineapples and I will refer to her as such, and finally Tech from Techland. Both Princess and Lyra have YouTube channels that you should check out, links in the description. After we finished our chores, Kina had to go home for a little while. The rest of us had great fun being stymied by the cupcakes that Tech had dropped. They glitched in such a way that none of us were able to pick them up until Kina came back and reset the island. As a joke, as a funny bit, I went to the tape deck and set off a bout of group stretching. I had assumed that the game wouldn't let me stretch with other people on my island, but instead it forced everyone to exercise with me. Get stretched, losers. We had a couple more entertaining glitches over the course of the visit. Tech could not sit his butt in a chair to save his life, which made it very difficult for us to have a group coffee. Once he was finally seated, we drank like 5 or 6 cups of coffee to kill time until the KK Slider concert. We wanted to listen to KK Metal, but I had put it in wrong and KK Slider didn't play it for us. After the concert, Lyra tried, but it glitched and she was the only one able to enjoy the concert. Meanwhile, Kina was trying to go home again and got stuck in the airport until the song was over. It was a beautiful way to cap off a beautiful visit. Then it was time to do some happy home designing. Everybody was pretty hyped for Vivian, so we went and made a gym for her. I put her on the same island as Gigi because in my head they can be workout buddies. I think I would like this house better if it had better wallpaper. Maybe once I have a better selection I'll come back to fix it. Somebody in my chat was very curious about what a kotatsu was, so we decided to do Pearl's house next. She wanted a Japanese-style house with a kotatsu in it, and I think I delivered. I really liked the color scheme that I used for this room, I just wish I could make the kotatsu blanket match everything just a little bit better. When I got back to home base, I got a promotion. Now I earn even more Poki when I complete a house. I spent the rest of the stream doing a little terraforming over here. I didn't decorate it yet, but I have plans for what I'm going to use in this area. And with that, thank you all so much for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the button that tells me so. And if you want to make sure you don't miss the next one, please consider subscribing. I live stream hard mode every Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I try my very best to get these videos out every Sunday. Also, I didn't mention it until now, but we recently hit 100 subscribers. Thank you all for that. That doesn't feel like a real number of subscribers. I feel like I should do something to celebrate the milestone, but I don't have anything in particular in mind. Maybe I'll have thought of something by the time we hit 200 subs. I hope to see you all again next week.
Me,